All right, folks, it's that time again. I've got a mob of camels. It's windy, so it's going to be interesting to see how we go with this. But let's get geared up and ready to go. All right, g'day folks. Today I'm heading out just to align a antenna and do a little bit of tightening up here and there. So kind of a good day. It's overcast, it's cloudy, not too cold, not too warm, it's quite nice. But on my drive out, I have seen something kind of interesting. Now I'm going to see how I go with showing you it, because that little camera there isn't that great, but I'm going to drop the mag. Clear. And see if I can get the camera to see what I see. It doesn't really like that. Alright, up on the hill there, we might be able to see it. It's only 3 times magnification here, but we've got a cow up the hill. There we go, a little bit easier to see it. There's our moo cow. Up on the hill. All up there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, just a moo cow up the hill doing its thing. So, time to keep on rolling on and get these jobs done. I'll see you as we travel. Rightio, we're at Chadsworth, and this is the one that we put onto the tower, North Mountain, as soon as we got that one up and running. The other ones that are going to be on that tower are on the other side of the lake, and I'll get onto them probably tomorrow, I reckon. I'll see how I'm going. And why I need to align this one is I had the short ladder and I just spun it around, ballparked it, you know, couldn't line it up properly. So I've got the long ladder today. I've had a little bit of a look. I'm not going to bother with putting the Wi-Fi into this one at this stage, and just a couple of reasons on that. It's going to take me a few minutes, and I've got a cable I'd have to check. Well, change it over to the other type, which is the 48 volt switch that steps down to 24 volt, rather than the one that we have here, which is the little daisy chain between 2 PoE injectors. This is somewhat energy inefficient because they're both converting it to their like 5 amps that they can do, or 10 amp for one of them, which is its maximum load. But it's easier and it's a little bit better just to run it through one voltage conversion. So I'm going to get my ladder, and what I do is I strap it down the bottom here onto the shuttle, and then I strap it at the top, and it's nice and stable. So I'm going to get to that, scramble up and get it cranking. So I'm connecting directly to the Wi-Fi that this has. It's called its management radio. Logging into it. Now I know that I will be quite a bit off because the tower's actually over that way. So while that loads up and connects, I'm going to spin it around a little bit, because that's that little dimple you could see on the video from the drone, and I can see the tower itself. So I'm pointing pretty much at it now. Let's see if we've got any better connection and if it is connected. All right, now we're getting good signal, 6x, 6x, and really can't complain about that because its capacity is now 210, 216, so that's more than enough. So, nice, quick and simple. Right, so nice quick job there. That's going to improve the video quality and stability by a lot, which means that our footage is going to be more reliable and high quality, which is always good. So nice easy job. A lot of preparation to get it to that point, but I like it when it's like that. So time to crank on to the next couple of jobs. All right, folks, it's that time again. I've got a mob of camels. It's windy, so it's going to be interesting to see how we go with this. But let's get geared up and ready to go. We've got 2 on the right, big bull at 12, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 that I can see right now. right, so 7 out of 13, not terrible, but wind, challenging bush, not wanting to charge all the way through. And I'm using the 223. So that's the wedge-tailed mini MPR, which is in 223 or 223 wild, which means it's both able to take the 5.56 and the 223. So you can run military ammo through it if you want to, if you've got that. So that's good for range stuff. Now, you might be wondering why you're using the 223 instead of your 308. Well, it's a little bit of kind of making a point. I enjoy the 223, it's great. In the right conditions, it's okay for the camels. Today, not exactly the right conditions. But it's because now under the WA firearms laws, we've got police licensing and people in there who have absolutely zero experience with firearms making the decisions about what caliber firearms people are allowed to have, including station owners. Now, there are stations that they are saying the maximum caliber you're allowed is a 223. Kind of ridiculous. As we've seen, in challenging conditions, 223 isn't always perfect. So, it's kind of messed up. Good work, great work there, people. They continue to refuse to listen to people who have actual experience doing this stuff and keep on just grabbing stuff out of the air because, I don't know, they just want to be a pain in the ass. So it'd be a waste to not take some meat off this animal, but I've found out that if I video me cutting meat up off this animal, YouTube will strike me. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that part, whip out a back strap or two, because this one is nice and tasty looking, and get back onto fixing wireless. So here we are at Warren's Bore, where the camera's been intermittent. Now, what I found when I just had a look at it there was the camera effectively wasn't getting powered up. I think it could be the power budget for the switch that's in there, which was a older type that we tried. So the voltage converter I had was only a 1 amp, 48 volt, and that was running an access point and the camera. So I'm going to switch it over to a Ubiquiti Flex Mini and put a bigger voltage converter. Now, this one's awkward to work on because I put the box quite high and I can't drive the vehicle in because we've got a little camel bar over there and I don't have the step ladder. So I've propped the ladder up. I'm working on it on an angle, but this means that we don't get really good camera angles for filming this. But I can give you the quick rundown on what we've got in here, and then I'll show you the way that it is now, or one of our two versions that we run. But this was Warren's. So we had the 24 volt DC converter running straight off this. I now put a relay in, so these units don't trip out because of high load. And there was a 48 volt converter there going into this little switch. We also have one of those batteries which I don't like, and that is the Renogy one. So we're going to change that out for a 100 amp hour lithium one. Yeah, I'm going to get cracking on this and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Right, so that's all sorted out. I will need to put a bigger solar panel. This solar panel in its history hasn't actually been yielding that much. But what I did before I flicked the camera on was I removed a dead tree with a chainsaw. And that was to give it a little bit more light in the mornings. So let's have a look in the box. All right, it currently isn't on. I've changed the battery parameters for its battery saving. So what we have is the charge controller goes to a relay which will switch the load directly from the battery into the voltage converter, which goes into this PoE injector, so power over Ethernet injector. This cable carries the voltage, puts it into this ubiquity switch, that goes to the camera. This one loops around and goes into this 48 to 24 volt, which is what our point-to-point wireless access operates on, and it works. So yeah, that's it for this box until I put a bigger panel onto it, but hopefully it'll get a little bit more juice during those morning hours. So I'm gonna pack my stuff away, get in the ute and roll to the next one. So I'm not gonna get that other water point camera fixed up today. I've decided to kind of call it. It's coming up on 4:30. It is ridiculously windy. It's 46 knots, which is just, it's unpleasant. But yeah, I achieved with a couple of points. And really, I'm not feeling too well, just like a little bit off, a little bit crook. So, and yeah, gonna call it at that. So that's about the day. I will keep on cracking on tomorrow and get those other ones up. Might even be able to take a bigger panel down for Warren's there so that it is fully charging. But for now, I'm really not enjoying it. It's like enough that it's pushing the Land Cruiser a bit, and wasn't particularly keen on climbing too much more with this wind going on. It's supposed to be dropping off at around 3, but it doesn't seem to have done anything but getting harder and gustier. So thanks for joining me today, and yeah, all the things that are going on here, it's just always entertaining. But I'll certainly be able to grab one of my heavier rifles for any cameras I come across. But the 223 is alright when the conditions are not as bad. But again, we have those people who seem to think that they know better without having any experience, making decisions, and their captains calls things that they like to call policy and keep it secret because you can't release that document. But hey, what do we know? We do this shit. Right, I'll see you tomorrow on the next one, as I hope not to get completely and utterly blown away. Right, cheers.